Hello everyone, my name is Chris. As requested, I'm doing a support heal beam medium guide. It's important to figure out if this playstyle is for you or not. The pros are extremely interesting. First of all, this role does not require you to have extraordinary mechanics or aim. You are there to enable other players, meaning that you can be lower skill level than your teammates and you will still find a lot of value in your playstyle, because if you are lower level than your teammates and you are playing light, you will underperform 8 games out of 10. But when you are just positioning yourself properly on heal beam medium, you will be able to help your teammates and they're gonna be happy with your performance no matter how bad or good your mechanics are. It's important to understand that when you are going for a role like this, it's very scarce, meaning that a lot of players really don't want to play heal beam medium, meaning that you will be always in demand. People would always like to play with you, and in my personal opinion, there are about 90% of players that are willing to carry and only 10% players that are willing to enable the carry, the ones that support them. So it's gonna be a great chance for you to really learn the game and enter the levels of team play that you would never be able to enter before that. So let's imagine that you are playing with diamonds and you are gold, but you are healing, you are always there to provide with movement, you understand your role. People would gladly play with you in comparison with you being gold and trying to play light or like a second heavy. It's just gonna be very, very ugly. And this is gonna be a downside as well, because if you don't have good teammates, you will turn into a dark side. You will start trying to solo carry games for yourself because of your fragile ego that really don't want to lose. And I completely understand you. This is absolutely normal. So if you are the person that really likes supporting in other games and you are just that kind of guy or that kind of girl, this role is absolutely for you. Although you have to understand that if you don't have good teammates, supporting bad players is only gonna hurt your feelings. So when we look at the best gear possible for a support heal beam medium, it's important to understand that there are a lot of team compositions that you can go for. You can go for heavy medium light, double heavy medium, double medium heavy, triple medium, double medium light, medium double light. And all of these compositions will slightly change the way you play the game and slightly change your gearing depending on what your teammates want from you and what your goal is. So let's start off with specialization, and let me tell you that these two things are quite terrible in comparison with what you can get with heal beam. As a support player, you will find yourself in situations where your teammates are gonna win a lot more duels if you are there to burst meshes and bubbles for them, as well as always enable them with heal beam. Because if you would look fundamentally at the nature of duels, it's going to be a person that has a better position, that's mechanically better, and he will always win in a fight. But then you can heal beam your teammates and he might have the chance even against a stronger player. Especially, did you know the situations where the guy is closing up the distance trying to melee, but you're out healing the enemies? This is one of the most satisfying moments when you are playing heal beam. You understand that you are the reason why your teammate is alive and you are the reason that he is performing so well. This is exactly the reason why heal beam is a superior option. When it comes to dematerializer, I know I am exceptional at speaking or saying this word. It's a decent gadget, but not good enough. I feel like it is not good enough. It's decent when it comes to dropping cash outs and then quickly closing up the gap, so you will be able to steal it for free. But then again, I still feel like when your light is 3 HP, he's not gonna spend 7 seconds slow resetting and rather can just receive a healing beam for a second and he's going to be full HP, ready to engage once again. Because if you would look at this game fundamentally, you have windows of opportunity for you to capitalize on, and heal beam allows you to fix mistakes of your teammates, whether they are positional mistakes, mechanical mistakes, and also it allows you to consistently apply pressure to enemies. And trust me, when you are applying pressure to the team, eventually it's gonna break. So turret might also be a great option, but if you would look at the nature of your fights, 80% of the time you are fighting for the position of power, you are fighting for the vault, and the fights are very dynamic, meaning that if you place your turret right here, they can just kite it, they can avoid it, they can play behind corners, they can go and completely get rid of it, and it is just a complete waste of potential. Not to say that turret is pretty easy to destroy if enemies are not playing triple heavy shotgun or something, right? So heal beam is going to be your best friend. I will speak about advanced heal beam tips later on in this video, probably in the end. When we look at the weapon choice for a support heal beam medium, you quickly realize that AKM takes an absolute S tier spot, because sooner or later you realize that when you are trying to enable and multiply the value of your teammates, you don't have the time to shoot other players. Sure, if opponent is out of position and you are on a high ground, you can beam him 3-1 quickly. But outside of that, Scar is going to be a massive handicap to your ability to consistently be useful as a support heal beam medium. AKM allows you to apply pressure to enemies, switch back to heal, apply a little bit more pressure, switch back to heal, apply a little bit more pressure, switch back to heal. When with Scar, after you shot 10 bullets, realistically you have to reload, and it takes a lot of time, and you have a lot of downtime where you are doing nothing. So let's say that you shot a few bullets, and after you have 10 in mag, it is pretty useless. You won't be able to realistically kill anyone, and all you are going to see as a heal beam following your heavy player is another heavy player if the enemy team is playing properly, and he will have mesh, he will have bubble, they will have turrets, they will have APS, they will have mines, they will have pretty much everything that it is your job to shoot, but you are not shooting it because you are playing Scar. So when you look at the greatest debate of the finals, whether you want to play AKM or Scar, it's absolutely obvious that AKM should be your absolute first priority. This is an absolute must, absolute S tier weapon. It is still incredibly deadly. I don't understand people that say that AKM has lower damage, because if you are dueling another medium in a 1 versus 1, fundamentally speaking, there is something wrong with your positioning, because all you have to do is to apply pressure to enemy heavy by shooting his mesh, shooting his bubble, shooting turrets, shooting APS, and then you want to heal your heavy player. We will speak about positioning later on. I just wanted to sort this out. When you look at other weapons like FAMAS, you quickly realize that you shoot. FAMAS is just a very unreliable weapon. I would place it in B tier maximum. It has 0 recoil, but outside of that, very mediocre weapon and does not suit your heal beam playstyle. You still want to apply consistent pressure to enemies while staying safe. FAMAS is definitely not going to be a great option. Model 1887 requires you to close up the distance with enemies, and you really don't want to play close on medium because of heavy shotgun. That will kill you 10 times out of 10 without any chance, because of mines, RPGs, and all that kind of deadly stuff. Not to say that you shot a few bullets and that's the damage you dealt, because this is a proper positioning on heal beam medium, and now you have to wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds for reload. In comparison with you, applied a little bit of pressure on AK and switch back to heal, applied a little bit more pressure, switch back to heal, applied a little bit more pressure. Like, you have to understand that this is going to be a superior option for you. Other weapons pretty much possess same problem: CL40, Riot Shield, R356. All of them are not applying enough pressure, and it has so much downtime between you reloading, switching back to heal, and yeah, that's just gonna ruin your gameplay fundamentally. When you look at the gadgets, you have a wider variety of choice simply because of how many compositions you can possibly run. When it comes to your go-to build that you will never be able to have problems with is going to be double movement, zipline plus jump pad. Because no matter what composition you are playing, most likely you are going to have a shotgun heavy in your team, simply because any other weapon is just inferior to the shotgun. The cash outs are very close to each other, not close to each other, sorry, they are in close quarter environment, meaning that you always have to close up the distance and fight the shotgun. Lewis gun is just an inferior weapon in that regard. Not to say about M60 or MGL32, they are just extremely terrible. So you want to enable your heavy not only with heals, but you want to place him from point A to point B, because if you would look at the nature of a shotgun on heavy, you quickly realize that shotgun deals 0 damage from this range. Your RPG is pretty difficult to hit when you have it like that, and then your bubble is like kinda nah and gonna get easily destroyed. So your position of power on heavy is going to be 3-5 meters away from your enemies. And how do you do that? By asking your support he'll be medium for movement. He can either zip to that person or he can use a pad, and when you have a jump pad you can use your RPG, you can use your bubble, and boom, you are literally in your target shooting distance where you destroy and dominate everyone. Unfortunately, this is the meta where both medium and light are just support characters that are playing for your shotgun heavy. If you want to win the maximum amount of games you possibly can, this is the only proper way to do it. So double movement is amazing. Double movement is super duper good. You can set up on a high ground. Another good thing you can do with double movement is you can pace your cash outs faster. There is a flow in the game where if you will be able to cash the cash out faster than your opponents, the lobby becomes staggered and people are going to be forced to come to your cash out, try to steal it, and then they have to come to another cash out, try to steal it. And by the time it's been like 5 minutes already out of the match and you still have 10,000 only, and if you will be able to cash in and cash out 10,000 and 15,000, you have the option to quickly go and grief one team. That's the strongest in the lobby. This will allow you to win a lot more games. Unfortunately, people don't understand that, and they are very, very slow on the map, simply because they go for other options. So when we look at other options that you have on the market for a support heal beam, APS turret might be a great option simply because it allows you to block RPGs, bubbles. It's really nice when you are stealing the cash out. The main problem with APS turret is that it's going to be useful like 3 times a match maximum, but your Zipline is going to be useful 10 times a match. You will be able to get positions of power, you will be able to quickly rotate through the map, you will be able to escape danger by zipping away from your teammates, you will be able to enable your shotgun heavy, because after you placed your jump pad, and I remind you that you have 30 seconds cooldown right now instead of 25, you are basically movementless for 30 seconds, and there are map types that will never allow you to use the jump pad effectively. For example, Las Vegas, and the buildings are so freaking tall that you would never be able to achieve anything with a single jump pad. You need both jump pad and a zipline. One exception to the rule that you can use an APS turret for when you have a solo carry medium playing Scar and playing double movement, and you are going for an APS. You are going for an APS and a jump pad in order to also be useful with movement and not be really slow, but also you will be able to like get better point presence and better positions on position of power, right? Because when you are playing APS, it's gonna be way difficult for your opponents to poke you with nades, with RPGs, with bubbles, but also it's gonna be a lot more difficult for them to steal from you or defend from you. So in double medium heavy, when one medium is playing as a solo carry and another medium is supporting, APS turret can be a nice option. Outside of that, if you were a single medium in the team, whether it's double heavy medium or heavy medium light, you really don't want to go for anything besides zipline and jump pad. Defibrillator is going to be an absolute must. Even after the nerf, this gun or excuse me, this gadget is still absolutely extraordinary. It will allow you to completely turn around fights, especially with the current bug they have in the game where you are rezzing your teammate and he can hold the shield, or if you are rezzing your light player and he can go invis while he is recharging his life, right? So it takes 3 seconds for a person to cook up and then he's gonna be fine. But when you are like defibbing your heavy player, he can shield you like this and you will be able to collect free frags on enemies because of how insanely broken and overpowered this is. So Defibrillator has to be your absolute choice. So after we have spoken about abilities, weapons and gadgets, it's important to fundamentally understand how to position yourself, and the rule of the thumb is pretty simple. You want to value your own life above pretty much everything else. So if you understand that your heavy player is playing like an idiot, you want to sell him and play your life, especially if you have cash. You have to be the last person to go in, you have to be the last person to die, you have to be the last person to see enemies. It is not your job to duel enemies, it is not your job to ego pick, it is not your job to receive damage, because in most compositions, after you receive damage on medium, people can walk up to you with Zipline and jump pad and completely destroy you, capitalizing on the fact that you made a positional mistake. Instead, what you want to do is you want to build a hierarchy, in a sense that you never want to go in front of your heavy player. It's very difficult. You have to step over yourself, especially if you always been a solo carry player. You want to place a jump pad, and no matter what, you want to wait for your heavy player to go first. You place the zipline, and no matter what, you want your heavy player to ride the zipline before you. So you might ask me, why would you train yourself to build a hierarchy between you and your heavy player? Simply because your heavy player has the defensive options and no matter what, he's going to stay alive. But then again, if you're gonna receive damage or die, the lobby, or excuse me, your engage is gonna be so freaking delayed. So if you are receiving damage or dying on medium, your team has to spend time saving yourself, going for your trophy, bringing back behind cover, rezzing it, in comparison with you placing a zipline, looking at your heavy player, and then 3, 2, 1 jumping on it behind mesh shield. So you will actually be able to approach and engage with movement instead of being an idiot and padding in front just to get beamed by some insane players that can track you like this. Like, it's incredibly easy to kill you. You only have 250 HP, and if your heavy player is not taking all the damage onto himself because he has a lot of effective HP, you are just throwing the game like that. When it comes to your positioning in fights, it's incredibly important to understand that you have to be the last person to engage, meaning that teammates are going to come to you to receive heals, not you gonna come to teammates to give them heals. Let's look at it once again. It's not your responsibility to follow your heavy. If your heavy needs heals, he has to drop from somewhere and receive heals, because your life is the most valuable asset, because you can easily yoink his trophy, defib him in the corner, heal, go outside, pad, and then you cook up together. In comparison with you running in to save him, there is a light stunning you, killing you, and everything becomes incredibly terrible. So please, if fight is happening right here, find a spot right here where you are extremely safe. Or for example, your heavy jumps out of the window onto 3 players. Do not follow him like an idiot. Do not go in. Play here. Play here. Your heal beam works through walls. You will be able to heal your teammates even if you don't see him for a short period of time like that. Boom, you LOS a little bit. Boom, you LOS again, and you are constantly healing him even though you don't see him. Please, play your life. Be safe all the time. And if you see that your team is losing a fight, you just leave. You leave and you start again. You wait for them to coin, you wait for enemies to leave and come back. Do not be an idiot that's dying first on medium. That is the worst thing you can do on a support. Absolute worst. When it comes to your priorities when you are dealing damage versus healing. So how to actually understand when should you heal and when should you deal damage. So priority is very simple. Your heavy player has a lot of effective HP, basically meaning that you want to burst enemy meshes, you want to burst enemy bubbles, you want to destroy turrets, APSs, mines, C4s before you heal. This is your first priority. So when you are entering the fight with an enemy, let's pretend that this is a heavy player and he's holding the mesh. It is your responsibility to put 36 bullets in his shield in order to weaken him. If he's placing a bubble, it is your responsibility to burst that bubble so your heavy player can apply pressure by using his shotgun, he can apply pressure by RPGing, bubbling, because all of these abilities work so much better if your enemy does not have bubble. And if their medium is not doing that, you have massive bubble advantage where opponent cannot bubble himself, he cannot shield because it's gonna get bursted, he cannot RPG, and it just becomes very messy and ugly for your opponents. So this is gonna be your first priority. If you see any environmental stuff, you shoot it. Mesh, bubble, turret, RPG, C4, anything, APS, doesn't matter. It needs to be removed from the map for your heavy, light, medium, or whatever composition you're playing to play better. Second priority, if you see that your teammates are receiving damage, you heal them. Please, before you shoot enemies, shoot environmental stuff and look at your teammates if they need your help. If they are above 70% HP, you swing the corner, you play natural cover. You are not playing right here, you are not playing right here, you are playing right here, natural cover. You shoot and go back immediately. I understand that your heavy can create artificial shields, or excuse me, artificial one-way walls called shields, but it's unrealistic. He cannot deal damage while he's shielding you. You don't want to be a burden to your heavy player. You want him to go and cook in. And in order to do that, he needs to understand that you are absolutely safe and don't need any help. You have to choose the position where you will be able to effectively poke damage from range while staying safe. This is gonna be very tricky, and sometimes your teammates are gonna play like idiots and force you in very bad positions. How do you fix that? You sell them. You let them die, let them make mistakes. Do not blame them, they are on their respected level in terms of understanding of the game, so it is absolutely fine. So you play, again, you beam mesh, you heal your teammate, and then you cook up enemies. Very simple, like... But, unfortunately, a lot of players are making the same mistake for some unnecessary reason. They are playing Scar, right? So let's pretend that you went to the dark side, you don't trust your heavy player, and you are playing Scar for some reason. You are thinking that this is the best weapon to destroy and heal be medium, right? So you swinging in, you see bubble, you see mesh, you're like, no, I'm not shooting that. Boom, you are useless. So you spend 20 bullets shooting mesh, you need to reload for 3 seconds, and then when you pull out your heal beam, your teammate is already almost dead, and now you heal him for full, enemies are pushing, you are out of heals, and then you try to shoot a medium with the Scar. It's just very ugly and not working. Like, the Scar is not a good weapon for a support medium, it is just not. You will never be able to consistently apply pressure to enemies like you would with AK. AK has 200 more damage per magazine, meaning that you will be able to kill light on top of the damage that you dealt to the heavy and cooked medium, right? So you can cook medium, and you have 22 bullets, and it's only when you are shooting him alone, but then you have your teammates. So you cooked medium, you turn around, you cook here, you heal, you cook again, you turn around, you cook again. Like, notice how much more I do with this weapon in comparison with a terrible weapon called Scar. This is the biggest scam in the finals right now, thinking that Scar is gonna give you better results, thinking that you just need to deal more damage as a support player in order for your heavy to feel safe, in order for him to be like useful. This is terrible and one of the worst things that I've heard. I am still playing AK, still best weapon for a support medium. How do you rotate around the map? This is gonna solely be dependent on the composition you are playing and your goals and strength. For example, you are playing triple medium, you want to keep your range, so you want to take positions of power on high grounds and poke from it. For example, you go here, you clear the roof, you see a person, you fall down like an idiot, don't do that. So you clear the roof and then you just beam from here, right? And everything is really good. Right? When you are playing double heavy with shotguns, you will never be able to poke someone from the roof because shotgun needs to be closer. So when you are playing with double heavy, best way to use your movement is to sneak up from below. Let's pretend that enemies are playing right here, right? So you sneak up from below and then you use your movement to immediately transfer your shotgun players onto enemies. Boom, you wait for them to pad and then you pad. You don't pad first like an idiot. Boom, and then you cook, all right? When you are playing heavy, medium, light, you are playing 2+1, your heavy player and you are playing together. You are holding hands because you are gonna die without his protection, he is gonna die without your sustain and support, and your light player is running around scouting, he's setting up, he's looking for glitches, he's looking for stun guns. So when you are doing like that, you want to set up on the high ground, and when your light player is ready to stun, for example this person, he pings it like 3, 2, 1, you pad your heavy and then you pad together and you cook him, boom, period. Very simple. You need to play out of your strengths of a composition, not out of your weaknesses of a composition. Please do not do that. This is by far the best advice I can give you when you are trying to go for proper rotations and positioning. You just want to think about your personal power as a composition. You have shotgun, you want to transfer him closer to excuse me, enemies. You are playing full poke with triple scar or double scar AK, you are zipping them on the roof and then you are cooking from there. If you are playing with light, you wait for him to set up and then you 3-1 on a person. You are playing either brawl, dive, or you are playing goats with shields. Simple as that. So now let's go for advanced tips for every piece of gear you have on a heal beam medium. When it comes to your heal beam, which is your Q ability, one of the most effective ways to use it is by holding your left mouse button. So for example, you are healing your teammate, you can press Q and you will have the time to shoot, and there is no delay between you doing that. I am not letting go of my left click. I'm not letting go of my left click at all, and I am like instantly shooting when I can and instantly healing when I can. So for example, I shot him, boom, I'm already there. You don't need to let go of your left mouse button. Another thing you need to look for is your overheating. Please do not overheat your thing. You have to be proficient enough to always stop at the end like this, and then you say I don't have heals, and when you don't have heals you just go and elevate pressure by shooting enemies. So these are pretty much two things that I wanted to speak about, right? You can also like cook behind. If you LOS a person for 2 seconds, like every 2 seconds, he will be able to get healed pretty quickly, right? So another way to use your heal beam, again, I've already spoken about this, but you have to be the person that's playing your life. If you don't feel comfortable playing in a room with 7 people, 10 mines and 3 turrets right here, but your heavy feels comfortable, let him go in and let him cook on your own. You wait here and then you say, you can LOS me for heals, drop down first floor for heals. I am with you, but you drop down for heals. If your teammates are not cooking without you, they just drop down and then you pat them above and then you play together and you heal them, right? You don't want to go in just to get completely melted by shotguns, lights, scars and everything. This is just very terrible. You don't do that. But this is pretty much everything for heal beam, right? Another thing I wanted to speak about is a tip where you are running away from an enemy. So for example, you're running from this enemy. You don't want to heal your teammates as you are running. Let him shield. You slide behind cover and then you heal, right? In comparison with you just walking like that, because you cannot run while you're healing. So if you are running from something, you just want to slide behind corner, jump, get a position, get a safe position. Always think about how to be safe, and then you heal your teammate like this, right? So this is everything I wanted to talk about when it comes to heal beam. I don't think there are specific AKM tips that I want to give you, but it's pretty accurate on range, and one of the best tips I can give you is that you need to get used to the weapon. So you wanna be so proficient in a weapon that you just go here and then you consistently don't miss bullets on standing targets like this. This way you will be able to understand that this weapon is very effective at range. Right? So you wanna be good enough in order to track enemies properly with your AKM. This is the biggest tip and advice I can give you, nothing else. Again, you can switch back between heal beam and stuff. You always keep your range, you always play safe behind natural cover. You really don't want to go anywhere if there is no mesh shield in front of your heavy, if there is no bubble that's ready to be thrown at you and you can play in. You really don't want to cross like open areas because of how vulnerable and fragile you are as a support. Value your life. You can cook enemies from afar using AK. That's not the problem. Zipline tips. Every single time you respawn, whether you just started the game or dead, you want to place a zipline for your team to be faster at vault. After that you can jump, you can slide into a jump pad and you will get additional momentum. Pretty much nothing else I want to talk about when it comes to the zipline. Maybe one tip I can give you is that, for example, you are pushing suspended structures, right? Instead of placing your zipline right at the top where enemies can melee it with double tap, you can place a zipline just below it, and you will still be able to make it onto the high ground. You see the difference right here, where enemies can easily destroy it with melee, easily shoot it down, or right here. Boom. And you will still be able to access high ground by jumping in, but people will never be able to destroy it, right? So this is one of the tips that I can give you when it comes to jump line or zip line. Always jump after in order to get additional momentum. Jump pad, pretty straightforward. You need to slide into it in order to have maximum mobility. You can place a jump pad after your movement in order to get additional mobility. So you pre-place it, you slide into it, and then you jump. This way you will save yourself a little bit of time. When it comes to Defibrillator advanced tips, nothing else, but a few interesting things I wanted to speak about. You can pre-cook your defib and jump on a target. Please, when you are rezzing your teammates, do not res them in the middle of nowhere. If you are safe, yoink the trophy. Press F, you can crouch, press F, and you will be able to yoink your teammates from right here, bro. If he's dead right here, you will be able to yoink him from here, boom, and then you go like this, right? Let's pretend that this is your teammate. This is your teammate, right? You yoink him like this, boom, and then you res him, slow res him right here. Don't need to use Defibrillator if you are not getting pushed. Boom. So, do you understand the difference between you defib him right here, and then you yoink him behind the cover, boom, and then you res him right here, right? Always res behind the first safe cover, like this, boom, and then you pad above, and then you continue applying pressure to enemies, right? And then you continue applying pressure to enemies. These are the best tips I can give you when it comes to your gadget usage. So anyways, this is going to be it. TLDR, you want to completely get rid of your ego and be the person that's enabling your teammates, not pulling the blankets in the same or in the other direction. You want to be there for your heavy, not against your heavy. You are not competing against your teammates for best damage, best KD, best win rate. You simply do not care about that. You are there to be useful and helpful. You need to find joy in looking at your teammates' success, and this is the only way to get higher. You will be able to be invited in higher level stacks, because people don't want to play support, they want to solo carry, but you are there for them, you are there, you are supporting them, instead of all the mediums that are playing Scar and dying in the middle of nowhere. You are always there to heal beam, you are yoinking them, slow raising, boom boom boom, defibbing him, placing him the pad. Do you need a pad? 3 to 1 we pad above. You are there to beam shield. He is playing with you and he realizes that You are the best support he ever had in the finals, because all of them are playing like selfish, egoistical idiots, but you are there for him. You genuinely want him to succeed, and this is damn attractive, you know? Like, if I were to have a teammate like this, I would never trade him for the one that's just going around like, oh, I'm a Scar main, I'm gonna cook and I destroy everyone. Like, it is insane. Value your own life, please. You have to be the last person to engage, last person to die. Please, always be safe. If you see that your teammates are dead, go outside. Zipline above, boom, into pod, like player not like this, but you understand me. Like boom, 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 into pod, like run away, boom, right here. Damn, and then you window climb, but then you are safe. You're waiting for your teammates to coin. They coin, and then you continue applying pressure in comparison with you dying first, receiving damage. Jesus Christ, I feel so bad looking at this. So you want to be there for your teammates. You want to be part of the problem, not the part of the solution. So hopefully after this guide you will be able to get insane results with support he'll be medium. Share it with your friends that are clueless and still playing Scar. See you next time. Goodbye.